what your choices have been and what karmic timelines and contracts you have journeyed. The light is calling for the reunification of all aspects of life in this realm now. It is calling for the cleansing of all polarities. It is calling for the rising of all sacred heart centers now. All are being summoned home to the greater light now.
Hi, and welcome to Whole Soul Mastery's Sounds of Circles Heart Sharing in the Round today. I'm Marie Moeller, and I'm an author, a channel, and a host of the Sounds of Circles Roundtable podcast. I'm here today with Renee Tainter, Sharon Ramesbottom, and Vanita Lakwala. And I'm so excited to just be in this circle of this heart sharing, this welcoming energy, this place where spirit is just going to be beautifully moving through each of us, because every single round table, this is for our listeners, it's completely organic. We just listen for, how spirit wants to move through us and the messages that want to rise in our collective conversations. And all I do is bring a couple of seeds to this little magical garden that we create here, and just little seed topics. And some of the energies that came to me in this last week, and really last couple of days, was as all eyes are on the energies transpiring in our worlds, in our personal lives, and in the greater collective globally. We all know that the world is changing. There's just a vast amount of energy swirling and twirling, and that we also have the opportunities to choose to create with a lot of these energies too. And so some of the energies coming up are centered around the themes of duality, unity, and the sustenance that's going to help us rise from the duality and into a greater space, a more harmonious space of unity consciousness. And that these are the times that we're living. And, part of Whole Soul Mastery's mission even is integrating polarity within, so that we can access these higher states of light and unity consciousness, where a greater joy and abundance and blessings are in our lives, instead of, many of us have had experiences or might currently be having experiences of just chronic struggling or tension, things that cause us discomfort. And here in the United States, we have the elections that are still playing out, and lots more to get revealed with all of that. And you can see that actually, even in the most recent transmission that I've channeled through, that's going to post this weekend through Frequency Writer and Color the Magic, the guides are talking about how the duality divides and the light unites. That's definitely a theme. And yet we're tasked with living this every day. And so, integrating polarity, it sounds like just two words, right? But it can be lifetimes of journeying, right? We all know that. And maybe I'd like to put out to you guys to talk about, how do you dance with that in your life? How do you do the duality dance in your own experiences? Because duality shows up in our lives. That 3D comes calling from the theater all around us. There's many actors and all of us in costumes, and we've been trying to shed some of our costumes. Those on the spiritual path and the spiritual journey have been taking off the layers of our costumes, for many lifetimes maybe, and a lot this lifetime. But how do you dance in the duality and move and sustain yourself to grow into the greater unity that is the task before all of us? Does anybody want to speak to that? Yeah, Vanita.
I'll let Sharon start. Yeah.
Um, well, I guess I'm doing it very carefully, and I'm trying to be very patient with myself, and I'm seeing it as becoming whole, and so if I don't separate any part of who I am, any aspect of myself, I don't allow it to move outside of myself. I embrace it and accept it and allow it. And then I see other people the same way. So these other people can also be aspects of myself, and I'm not separate from them. I accept it, I allow it, I become it. And then very carefully, and it takes time, and I'm a lot of self-love and compassion. But slowly, what is happening is it's becoming easier to be able to do that. And each person does it differently, you know, but to honor how you are feeling, and then to also honor their expression. And so, you know, it's the same within myself and within others. We. And so I guess how I'm doing it is trusting and surrendering and accepting and allowing. and and that looks differently in every moment. um, and so I'll let everybody else share because
Beautiful. Yeah, Vanita.
That was so well put. That's why I asked Sharon to go ahead, because she is such a forerunner. She has those words. I'm actually more of a demonstrating person, you know, so words, sometimes I struggle with words because I drop into my yogic terminology and like, how do I translate that? It's like back and forth. But I love how Sharon does put the together, and I love that. Um, exactly what you said. Right now, though, I'm more focused on my new being. I'm not thinking about duality. I'm not thinking about polarity. I'm not thinking about meanings and definitions. Like, okay, this is new energy. This is new me. I'm embracing new patterning. I know that as far as I'm understanding that earlier we were thinking about ascension, a rising up. This human says, I'm ready, spirit, come on, beam me up, Scotty, kind of thing. And I am a Star Trekkie. I love it. Learned a lot from Star Trek, holodecks, and how to create those realities and simulations, all of that. This is all that is simulation. Anyway, so now because of the energetics, and Marie would know this most of all because of the frequency, you tune into that, is that now Spirit says, I'm descending. I'm coming down into this form. Receive me. And you will have a lot of discomfort. Your physical body will complain. You may have to go to the physician, may not. Just give it a little time. Maybe it'll ease up. And our emotional moods may go up and down because we don't understand ourselves. So what's going on? It's outside of the physical external chaos. This is outside of that. This is just coming in for each one of us. And so knowing that we are taking in high vibrational light, and it's embedding in our cells. How do I receive it? The best way is to go prone, lie down, lie down. And yoga nidra is one of the practices. We go yogic sleep, where we relax our body part by part by part. And this is something I thought I would make a recording and send to you. I haven't done it yet, but it is something we do where we allow our physical body to completely relax, a mental body to relax, an emotional body to relax. Only then we can receive properly and let it integrate into our beingness. So it's not just a physical structure, a beingness, our understanding of who we really are. And so now the two are merging, and this is the compression that we're finding for every human on this planet. The animal kingdom doesn't, because animal kingdom is already there. Plant kingdom, same thing. Only humans, because we have free will. Attention is here. What's going on in the outer world, this, that, whatever. And here, all that is asked is go within, lie down quietly, and take it in, receive, and let it integrate. Give it time to settle. Just like we do an upgrade for our computer. We wait, we turn it off, we turn it on. Same thing. And what's coming in, I feel for me, and I'm only speaking because each one's journey, like Sharon said, is personal, where we're coming from. I feel, my confidence level is very high, my abilities, what I see, my accessibility, what I'm accessing in knowledge bases, where I'm ask a question and there are the results. And in the best possible, where I'd struggled for the same thing 10 years ago. And I couldn't understand why I couldn't get it, because I was not ready. My placement was not ready. If I had got it, I would have misunderstood it. Right now, it's my state of being on readiness that's letting that sink in. So this is my understanding that we are new beings. We have to start treating ourselves as new beings. We want to avoid going in the past. We want to avoid those, because 3D had a certain understanding of what is playing out, what was going to play out. So do this, that. But where I am sitting now, where I understand, and Marie knows that, we're playing at a different level. It's different. There are no rules really. We are the ones creating the rules and the agreements. So the contracts, if you notice in your personal lives, the contracts are breaking apart because they were from that time. And at that time, that was the storyline, the players, the actors in our life. We were an actor in their life. Contracts for that time. We stepped away and said, all contracts are null and void.
Wow.
We are going to make new agreements based on who we now are. This is the becoming. And what Sharon mentioned is the wholeness. So the wholeness is now integrating. Parts of us our puzzle pieces are coming in and parking ourselves like, wow. And you sit here as the 3D human says, I didn't know I had those powers. The most potent power is our power of thought. We create with that. And a feeling state. So the two bind together and boom, boom, boom. And thought means paying where we pay attention. So this is where I am playing, focus on the new and the new and the new. 2021. What would I like to see? What would I like to experience as world? Not even my world. Because again, like I said, holodeck, we're going to create a reality. If you start Star Trekkies, you know that holodeck is just a rectangular room. There's nothing other than electromagnetic circuitry, computer wiring. And then the program is written outside by the player who wants to get into a certain scenery. And they write the program outside and they step in, and the program is a 3D world that they get to experience. Now we say we want to create with universe and spirit, because we're not doing this alone. We have so much support. So we say, I want to envision a world full of balance, peace, harmony, and nothing else. Everything else will fall away, because then as one pictures it, then we share with another, and if the other is in agreement, because it's all about agreements. See, if you're in agreement with what I'm seeing, so okay, let's play together. Like Maria's created this podcast for us. She has envisioned this, and we came together. So now we share with masses, and we say, yeah, why not go this way instead of focusing on the chaos and the breakdown and the disharmony and the battles? Let's go here. It's so much better for everyone. So this is my way I am doing this. Of course, I have my meditation practices daily. And from there also, I send out calmness to the whole planet, like a torus field. I am the holder of the calmness. And from me comes calmness to float out and bathe the planet. Doesn't matter where it goes. It just send love and light. That's it. I don't have to say, fix this, do that. Love and light knows everything. So this is how we are going to, playing in this way, rather than there are going to be my personal experience. I have my storylines going on, but I don't battle with anything. And doing this, I find everything harmonizes with where I am. So they match up to me. I'm not going down back there.
Beautiful.
That was the too longest feel, but yeah, just something I'm practicing and sharing.
And that was so, actually, it was perfect. I mean, everything that we all share here is perfect. And I love that is that you are holding your vibration. You're choosing what you're growing, and you're not joining those other stories in those timelines or those contracts. Right. And that's where the divine empowerment comes in, when we know we have that power of choice. And if we join another story, or we jump into a contract or a theater with somebody else or a group for a little while, we can know that we jumped into that theater. And then when we say, oh, I'm so tired in this theater, I need rest, I need more sustenance, I need to nurture myself. That's when, through the power of choice, the thoughts, the feelings, we manifest, the timeline and the vibrational experience we want to be having. And that is New Earth. That is New Earth, is really choosing the frequency you want to be in any given moment. And never in recent time could we imagine that it could be that easy. And yet the density is leaving. So all we're left with is light, right? We have our wings and we'll travel, right? We can be anything, anywhere that we want to be. We just really have to get those clear pictures and that clear feeling inside ourselves, and manifest ourselves there. Beam us up, right?
Exactly. Exactly.
Exactly. Renee, do you want to share?
Yeah, first I want to say, Vanita, oh my gosh, and Sharon as well. Wow, I love to ride on your thoughts.
Mm.
It's a beautiful journey because it gives me clarity, and it gives me it expands my picture. And so that everything you said is definitely big picture living. And so I really resonated, Sharon, with you. Those are 4 of my biggest tools: surrender, allow, accept. What was the
Trust.
Trust.
oh yeah, trust. That's my number one. And the also being brutally honest with myself. I wasn't always that way, because good Christian people shouldn't have thoughts like that, right? Well, I abandoned that when I started having a real relationship with God inside of me. And so I have moments of, I don't know how to handle this. I am going to surrender. I am surrendering, I'm trusting. And I know the solution is there. The resolution, the integration of new ways of being and new thoughts. And so it doesn't always come right away. So I end up waiting. I wait for it, because you have such a huge experience, and you're like extremely baffled by it. And you where do you turn? I mean, you turn toward the light and the love, and I ask for help. And sometimes I wait, and sometimes I wait longer than I want to wait. But it doesn't mean nothing is going on, because in order to get me to the point where I can really understand what's going on, or understand a way that I want to consciously respond, or consciously co-create, sometimes it takes me time to integrate the situation, so that I can come from the place where my heart lives, come from that place where I know I'm in alignment with source and God, and that because that is my foremost, I think I can say that for you too. Our foremost goal is to be in alignment with source, and to do what we can do based on who we are and our gifts or whatever. I think that's the heart moving in me. So sometimes my heart is saying, just be patient. It's going to unfold for you. Your understanding of this, you're being able to let go. I can't always let go of things I need to let go of. I mean, I know that's the goal. I know I'm going to, but if I say, let go right now, well, well, you have to have a certain understanding and integration before you let go, because why are you hanging on to it in the first place? Because it's still rooted in you somewhere, and And so I am learning more and more to be gentle with myself and to trust me that I am trusting. Trust me that I am trusting. And I'm grateful that I have those tools. And those are big tools. Each one of those: surrender, allow, accept, trust. When we're so accustomed in a 3 dimension or whatever to like find ways to manipulate the people and energies so that we can create what we want, instead of stepping back and allowing the energies that you breathe and that you're made of to assist you in, so that you can be the conscious creator that you want to be. And so I so the way I handle things like that is sometimes by not really handling them. I just have to sit with them. And like you said, Vanita, just be still. And there's a lot of times I just sit on the couch and I've got soft music going on and I'm just sitting there and I'm just allowing the presence, the presence in me, the presence around me. And I'll just go, okay, help me, Rhonda. Okay. And just breathe. And I just find the most beautiful thoughts, that come to you, because I learned that the light, when you learn some shattering truths, it hurts. The truth cuts you. It cuts you in order to show you the truth in your situation or in your life or whatever. But at the same time, I have totally experienced this even in the midst of pain. The light is at the same time nurturing you, loving you, healing you, comforting you, and it's an amazing dynamic to be in when you can be conscious of it. Because we know we're not just like, we can't just stop what's going on the planet right now. We can't just go, you know what, this hurts. This is too hard. Let's just stop this whole game.
Right.
No, honey, you're in it. So you're in it. So, okay, so let's go. And I want to be in it because I would much prefer unity consciousness. And to be honest, I see that in more places than people might realize. Every place I go, in the market, in the post office, in a restaurant or something, people are being loving and caring and eye contact. And so I think it's first nature for a lot of people. And in spite of the struggles that's going on with them and with everything that's going on, there they are with their smile and reaching out to you and being fun and silly sometimes. When you're standing in line, I like to start stuff, your mask, oh my gosh, look at that silly smile on it, or whatever. And then you strike up a conversation. People are so beautiful. They are. And that's my experience wherever I go. So I know that the energy of that love and light is alive and well and being used and being channeled by a lot of people.
So there's so much energy that moves inside us. And there were a couple things that came to me, Renee, when you were talking, that there is movement in the stillness. I think we all feel that. And sometimes when you say you've prayed, you've talked to God, you're having your conversations, it may not look like the solutions are coming, but movement is happening as the prayers are unfolding. And in that stillness and in that place of openness to receive, when you're praying and you're intending and you're asking, you're summoning the powerful energies of, the wisdom and light and love of creation to support you, to help you move through whatever you're experiencing that's uncomfortable, and to help you to be the vibration of the best version of you that you came to be.
Isn't that sustenance, Marie? Isn't that sustenance? Because
sustenance.
It is sustaining you while you're going.
Right. It is. And that's that invisible force that is creating our worlds, that is loving us in every experience, that's breathing us as we're going through these experiences.
Beautiful. It's breathing us.
It's
Yes.
breathing us. And I more and more this last year have taken the stories that, it's something that I know that's traveled through the Christian faith, the story of the footsteps in the sand, where someone was struggling and they were praying and they were calling out for God. And why did you abandon me? Basically, why did you forsake me? There's only one set of footprints. And I think the response from God is that I was carrying you the whole time, right? And I think we can feel the truth of that. And God is breathing all of us. That's God in the footsteps right now. God is breathing all of us this higher frequency, and any pain and suffering, any challenging dynamics with that outer world way out there, or even in with ourselves, if we're wrestling ourselves, if we feel that energy, or if we've got somebody close to us that's causing us some kind of pain, all we have to do is open, and in the willingness to consciously breathe, we're inviting source to breathe us, and to breathe all the frequencies and the movement of energies through our breath that's moving the pain inside us, that's moving it wherever it needs to go, into acceptance, into truth, into trust, into love, into unity consciousness. There's something so just, it's so simple. And yet the world that we're leaving, the 3D world, but that is falling away, has conditioned us that it's so hard to have this connection, that it takes these fancy spiritual retreats or all these techniques or all these things. You can have tools. We can have tools that support us and resources that help us with this sustenance and nurturing ourselves as we're journeying this right now. But there's this grace that's inside our breath that is absolutely breathing out what we don't want to be experiencing anymore, and breathing in the light and unification of source inside us. And when we're united with source, like, we have the power of the living universe inside us, and everything we say and everything we do is amplified in just magical and miraculous ways. And that's how we can touch a life. When you're in the store, Renee, and you're standing in line and you're spreading that light, you're shaking things up. You know, some people might even be sleepwalking through their day in some way or whatever, right? Or they might have stubbed their toe on the way into the store and, you know, kind of feel an inner grumble or something. And behind the masks, it's easier to mask even that, their own frustrations, their own pain. And then you show up and poof, you know, there's a little magical fairy, you know, showing up, a little elf in their experience that's like, tag, you're it. You know, you just sent them some light that day. And, you know, and they feel that, and then they can go on and pass that on instead of the stumble or the grumble they had maybe inside. And, or it just gives people permission to play together. And that's what some of this pandemic, that's a lot of what this whole thing has been about. There are some, we don't have to get into that, but there have been some deeper agendas to keep us separated behind the masks, to keep us, you know, not seeing, having that eye contact, that deep facial recognition. You know, for centuries, babies, what do when they're nonverbal? They're looking at their mother's face. They're looking at their, you know, parents, and seeing that reflection of light and life in their facial features, right? And here we are all masked up. But those of us that are light workers, we could even be having a challenging day, and yet we can still spread the light. We can still bring that, because we're breathing life force, we're breathing source, and you're like breathing some light magic into someone's life when we make that connection. And I think that's a big part of this, from duality to unity, is feeling where we feel that reunion. And the first step is reuniting with our breath, reuniting with our spirit, connecting with our heart, breathing in that union, because we've been breathing separation for a long time, and we have a lot of smog, you know, and fog and toxic energies in our world. But we can love that too. It's just like what Sharon's saying, is love that aspect. And before long, if we're breathing, even though we know we have some toxic energies in the air, if we know we're breathing source, and source is alchemizing that energy and moving that inside us, we can be like the trees that here's science. I don't know, but we like breathe carbon, it breathes carbon dioxide and makes it oxygen, right? We're, alchemizing that toxicity on our planet as we become these conscious breathers. And as we say, yes, source, I want to partner with you today. I want to unify with you today. In this moment, I'm feeling you breathing me, and we are unity consciousness right here and right now, no matter what's going on in our lives. And when we breathe that, we are transforming the toxicity and the duality and all the games and the theater and the drama. And as you said, Vanita, I don't know if it was before we got on camera or if you said it since we've been talking, because I'm timeless now. But, we really are, shoot, I lost that thought, but we really are, um, you know, coming into wholeness inside ourselves, basically in this theater, and source is unifying us. And this is the gift we have. This is the part we have to play. And we have the option of seeing all the outer drama, but the choice is, what garden do we want to grow? What's the light we want to seed in this world? And how are we being a vessel and an instrument of that kind of positive change and creation in our lives? And then maybe the other thing I want to say, because this is really the beautiful energy, but then there are people who are really struggling, and maybe I'd want to have you guys speak to this. But when people are struggling and they are in deep pain, sometimes they can say, okay, breath isn't going to help me. They're not in a place where they don't feel that. They're not feeling that love frequency. They're not feeling held. They don't feel God breathing them in that moment. It's too big a vibrational gap for some people at some times. And I know that feeling, early on in some of my catalytic experiences. I know there were moments that I felt like I was barely breathing. And I had it out with God many times, and sometimes we just we're alchemizing it by expressing it, safely, and however we can do that, where we honor ourselves and, we're not hurting anybody else. But I had many conversations with God, and I had many, and somebody who's another spiritual person that I know used the word ventilation. Sometimes we all need a little ventilation. And if we can discern and discriminate between the two, when we're ventilating, we can say to spirit, I'm not creating right now. I'm just getting it out, right? And if we can allow ourselves this ventilation, it's so important. And I said to a client recently, God doesn't get offended. I mean, other religions might teach different things, but in my experience, God doesn't get offended. God allows. That's what like unconditional love is. God is allowing the expression of us. And so sometimes we have to ventilate before we can even get to a place of, okay, I'm ready to consciously breathe with you, source, bathe me in your love and your light. Sometimes we have to get out the anger first. And sometimes we're not ready to partner with the breath of God yet. We just have to just get it out. And I think that's a big part. And some people are taking that into very public forums, and there can be some violence because of that. I'm not advocating that. I'm just saying I found my own ways, journaling, crying. Some people I've heard dance it out. They just physically move their body. You do it, Vanita, with your Ayurvedic practices and the yoga and being a yoga practitioner. We all have it. And maybe you guys want to speak to that. We've been touching on this through this conversation, but there's still that like unpleasantness. That's what I've done. I think I cried for 3 years. That's a long time. I cried every day, just rivers of tears pouring out of me, and having many conversations with God when I just couldn't make sense of the level of struggle and suffering I was in. And there were moments that I did partner and breathe, and I was channeling, and I was so supported, but I was in my greatest pain. And I was also at my lowest point. And I was at that lowest point, I was in my greatest place of openness. And I couldn't get to that place of openness unless I really, really indulged the suffering, unless I really let myself just have it out and say what was just utterly excruciating in my life every day. I journaled it and I cried it and I just, breathed. I just barely breathed through it. And, not everybody has to have that level of suffering, but that's what taught me what having my hands like this meant and my heart like this meant, this open heart, because I emptied of everything else. And that means I had to empty it out. I had to cry it out and I had to declutter it out and I had to clear it out. And that's how I can be in these podcasts with you today. And I can have these sessions with clients today. And I think each one of you, we've had our own experience of that clearing and that gutting and that purging and then the choosing of the timeline that we really want to be experiencing. But some people have those like I sometimes can have a really messy garage, or I have some closets that are quite terrifying. There's a lot of stuff still packed in them. And sometimes we have to unpack the mess a little bit and find a way to let it out safely and respectfully to ourselves and other people. But God is right there. And he listened to all the conversations I know I've ever had and that any of us have ever had. And God's a good listener. And if you need somebody to yell to, God's listening. And I call that ventilation. And then when I'm actually creating and I'm intending and I'm praying, I know that is my conscious creation. And I'm letting the universe know and spirit know that now this is what I want to seed in my garden. Thank you for helping me to let that out. I'm so grateful for that. And then my hands are open. Yes. Yes, please.
So when I was learning about the energy game and the ego mindset and the divine mindset, which I didn't even know, which I had to build, I learned about the tools. And I see a lot of people today, they're stuck in their fear. And every day there's more news that gives them more fear. And they seemingly don't know how to get through it, that they just have to suffer with this fear and wait for the outcome. And it's like we all, whatever our journey was, led us to the tools that we use right now. I mean, so we've been sharing different tools that we use when we're having problems and challenges. And so I see a lot of people that if you're just stuck in your regular human mindset, that you're just going to keep going round and round in there, because there's not any like new stuff coming in. Those thoughts are all mostly about maintaining the fear. What are we going to do? Talking with other people, oh, we're screwed, we're this, we're whatever. And if they knew that they could access their heart, the heart, which is where infinite God lives, where infinite wisdom, compassion, love, and then you will learn the tools. And I feel very grateful that I was kind of stumbled on that little journey. I mean, I did ask for help. And so it's tough enough when you have the tools. For me, sometimes it's really tough, and I'm so grateful for the tools. But the people that don't have those tools, that are just afraid of everything, and they give their power away to what's outside of them. And so it is frustrating for me because I want to just say, well, have you thought about this? Or have you thought about going inside and finding that place where you can trust that everything's happening for a reason? No. So I wish there was a way that I could touch those people and show them. Sharon.
Yeah.
First of all, the energies that are streaming through from all of you are so beautiful. And I am honestly, I'm very grateful for all of you. Thank you. It's so wonderful to hear all of this, because what I'm seeing is expansion, and that's who we are. And Renee, when you were talking about how, the pain and and then you had to feel it, and then, you know, you went through there, but you had to honor it. And that pain, that cut is, when you said that, I saw like this, like a cut in fabric, and the expanding of us. So every time there is that cut, we expand, we get bigger and bigger and bigger. And we like to define, you know, that, you know, feeling a certain way is better than not feeling a certain way. But people are choosing fear because they're learning from the experience, you know, so that's why they're not necessarily, you know, resonating with what you're saying, because they're at a place where right now fear is working for them. They're learning through it. And as they learn through it, we keep expanding. And so when you don't need that experience of suffering any longer, when you get to a place where you can understand and embrace just being and allowing and trusting in God, and then the experience and what you call to you, of course, uplifts, it gets higher. And then you are no longer in suffering. You're no longer aligning to fear. And what you see is what Vanita so beautifully shows,
Oh,
is that you bring in the peace and the harmony and the unity that is there, that is breathing us. And so, but everything is expansion. We're just keep getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And then it's up to you whether you're choosing an experience of suffering or of, you know, love. You know, it is really a choice. And but it's all beautiful because it is all expansion and it is all God in expression. And so, I mean, thank you all, because I just feel like I've expanded enormously.
we do every time we
We
expand.
do. I mean, I'm just getting, you know,
Yeah.
I just keep expanding. And I just like to just add that it really is in the breath. You know, I know that when people are suffering, and Marie, you said it so beautifully, you know, they, you know, breathing, they're going to say, I can't even do that. You know, it's not, but it is where God is. It is in the moment where everything is. And it is in that breath that if you can receive it, if you could receive all of the gifts that is given to us through the breath, then it makes everything in ease. You know, it allows grace. And so whether you are breathing and looking at a flower, or breathing in gratitude and, you know, feeling that at least I have a roof over my head, I am safe, I have enough to eat, you know, even bringing it down to the smallest thing that you can do, if you could breathe that in and then surrender anything that, you know, you want to surrender out of the exhale, then it is allowing grace and God to work through you. And it's where we all are. We're sitting there waiting to connect with the breath. We're there for you, right? We are all there breathing together as one. And so, yeah, anyways, thank you all.
You
Thank
know,
you.
I just was just thinking when you were saying that, Sharon, that I am so grateful that we can breathe and affect our human family, that we can let go of things. That's another big tool, letting go. Let go of things and make an impact on the collective, that we can, because of our heart and our love, it expands out and covers people that aren't able to do that right now. To me, that is such a blessing. It's such a gift to know that it's not just affecting you, it's affecting the collective. And that's what our hearts want to do. We want to, you know, help people. We want to be there for people.
So beautifully said. I just want to add to that, that You know, we've been living this dream of separation that was created for thousands of years. But like we've said before, as a collective, when we're breathing consciously in this way, we are breathing out that dream of separation. And we're breathing in for the collective, this higher timeline of this dream of reunion and harmony and grace and peace. And we can all be these agents of change. Again, it's as simple as this breathing. And that there is so much power in that stillness, and there's so much power in that breath. And there's power in the collective. And those of us that can breathe this higher knowing, this higher living for a collective where some still need the fear, right? We can be breathing that we know we're breathing them through their fear and breathing them into this timeline. We're breathing the invitation in a bigger, more expansive way. We're breathing the invitation to come to this higher timeline with us. And when we do these roundtables, we're inviting anyone listening to breathe this higher timeline with us, right? This quantum expansion with us, to breathe that energy, and knowing that those that are the most fearful among us, those that are the sleepiest among us, they're getting little whisperings of that. It is in the air, right? It is globally in the air, and Source is doing all that Source can do to also breathe these beings from the inside. But when we can have a consciousness to that, like when you were saying, Renee, you didn't know, when somebody's struggling or they don't know, and they're just ingesting all the propaganda or the messages that they've always received, and that they don't have any power to do anything. In that moment, you can immediately go into your breath and unifying with Source and say, God, breathe with me the knowing, and give this breath to this person if their higher self would receive it. And you can just know, I'm breathing in the collective, and that breath is touching this person, right? And when you do that consciously, our collective here, our collective at Whole Soul Mastery, our collective in our communities, we're all being touched, and anyone breathing the higher timeline is just amplifying that and bathing the people in fear with this amazing breath. And it is like, it's a tapestry. It's like a fabric in our design. It's in the divine design that we are breathing this one breath. And it's so beautiful. And that is some days how we're helping humanity. That's how we're helping the transformation. And it's accessible to all of us, right? And if someone's listening to this and saying, well, I can't be the breather of the invitation right now, then be the receiver. Then be the receiver of the invitation and this pulse, this heartbeat, this breath that's coming from God through us. And this is how we change worlds. Like, this is how we move to this new timeline. And it's so beautiful, and we're embodying it right now today. And Vanita, I want to make sure I give you some space to add to this energy.
Since I'm a teacher of yoga, we train people to breathe fully, because when we say breathe, most people don't breathe fully. Breathe just the upper part of the lungs, and it's not enough to calm the mind or the nervous system. So unless our nervous system is soothed, we can't think clearly. Agitation is always present. And that is why the practice of yoga is so popular, is because we have breath directed movement. The movement is just not on its own. We inhale, we lift up, we exhale, we fold forward. And so it's matching the inhale to the movement, and extension, flexions, things like that. Now, you could come into a yoga session if the teacher is, very aware of what we're really doing, because it's not just a physical exercise, it's much more than that. It's about bringing the being to present moment and stepping away from the chatter of the outer world, of the inner chatter including, because we have inner chatter as well. So when we direct someone to be focused on the movement, guided by the breath, led by the breath, then you would notice in a matter of like 5 minutes that distracted person becomes very present, because if they don't, they'll fall down, they'll trip over, they won't be able to hold the position. Holding the position makes one very present. The movement makes one present. It's like dance too. But in dance, there's the music, a lot of music outside, and the presence is not from within, it's outward directed, unless the person is already that way, then it works. So how does one become present? Because we say, okay, step away from the noise, step away from the news, step away from this, that, whatever, but it's all around us. Whether we want it or not, a person we know may talk about it. And again, it's in our face. So we need to have space for ourselves where we have a set time that we go to, quiet time. It's away from, it's very dedicated space. It's a sacred space, one could say, where the energy is held there. When you step in, you feel like you're bathed in the energy. So each one of you must have that. I have this, I come down my stairs and I become a different person, my true self. I go up the stairs, I become mommy, wife, whatever, the two do. But I come down the stairs, halfway down the stairs, I become, sacred space. And that's all that goes on in the space. Nothing else goes on in the space. There is no TV, nothing else. So we need to create this space that is very unique for us, that where we can calm down. As soon as we step in there, we calm down. Once we calm down, then we focus maybe on a technique, or we just be in nature. Closing our eyes is one of the best things we can do, because this is where the information is coming in. Closing our eyes, even the ears are okay, but closing the eyes, and immediately we start to drop. Let's look inside. What's in the inner landscape? In that inner landscape, we may find some chatter, but the outer chatter is not there, which holds us imprisoned, literally, because the outer is directing our every movement. Do this, do that. Right now, we have a lot of that going on where we feel restricted. But even in that, we can find our peace. We don't want to battle anything. We want to find a peace even in that. How can we find a peace even in that? Your partner does assist people in the prisons. Even in there, you're finding peace. You would say find peace in the prison, but one can, because we are divine beings of immense power, and we have chosen certain experience where even in the midst of so much disturbance, we can find our peace. When we do that, we master. We become masters. This is what the whole journey is about. I know I've set my intention. I want to be a master of light. That's it. And everything that shows up, okay, am I mastering? Am I passing this course? Not passing? Things will come and go. Eventually, being a master of light is becoming an ambassador of light. I want to be an ambassador of light. I want to bring this in, but not by saying I'm going to go out and do anything, change that person's mind. That I'm going to hold this presence, this good vibes. It's about good vibes, isn't it? All that is of good vibes. And I feel so good. I feel, oh, I love myself. I feel great where I am, what I'm doing. And then I step out, and I've held this energy long enough that it becomes my persona. And it's not my body, it's here. It's in my aura, in my energy field. And I walk in and I have to smile, and my dog jumps on me, says, I feel your love, things like that. My daughter comes, like big hug, because we have become this kind of person they can trust. Person that can assist. This wholeness has come from us, and we may still have limitations, financial, story still there, maybe even ailment, maybe something else, but we can still find our peace in that. So practices like this, really, I know how many people come for yoga classes, and I personally have gone in with maybe either physical disturbance, imbalance, and I've come out and it's gone. Because we become so present, and we breathe, and we focus in the breath coming fully in and out. that's as simple as even any beginner can get into something like that. And yoga classes right now are accessible online easily. So something like that. You want to get your, because the mind is so active, you want to get your body moving. When you get your body moving consciously with the flow, your mind takes a back seat. And then you come out of it and you feel so peaceful. Suddenly that issue that you had when you stepped into, now we don't have rooms, but our personal rooms, that you, before you step in and your condition after is very, very different. So conscious movement, it can be dance where you just enjoy the movement. You enjoy it. You're not doing it as a exercise even, but your enjoyment is there. So good. So physical movement, very important. Walking, the next best thing. Walking in a, where there are lots of trees and not too many people, traffic. And walking alone is one of the best because you're with yourself. Avoid the headphones, avoid taking in, and you're just present, breathing, looking, especially where we are, autumn leaves, it's beautiful, the colors. It's just being in the sunlight at this time. The sun, winter sun is just, it's not winter yet, but the sun is so beautiful right now. So we have these techniques. They are free, walking alone, avoid distraction because we have enough distraction. Headphones, music, walk and feel the body moving, feel the breath coming in and out. Even don't have to focus on the breathing. You naturally start breathing deeper. And the freshness of the elements pouring into this body, because right now is a time of self-nurturance, what you were talking about. We want to nurture ourselves. We want to make sure we're taking in everything that will make our body, not our mind, our body feel so good. Because the challenge is to the body right now. We are getting the light codes coming in saying, body, are you ready to take me in? So we have been preparing a body for a long time. And then we find that expands into a mental emotion, because when we work our body that way, our mental emotional comes into balance naturally. It's about the ANS, the autonomic nervous system. The left side, we do the left side, and the right side, a divine feminine, a divine masculine, two hemispheres of the brain. We're balancing everything, balance, 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 balance. Then standing on one foot, finding, can we balance on one foot? Can we balance on 2 feet? Can we balance on 2 feet? That's the biggest balance. Can we balance on 2 feet? So there are many ways. So key for self-nurturance is because we try many trends. Let me try that diet. Let me try that speaker. Let me try. And then, you have it for half an hour, 1 hour, and then the rest of the 24 hours, 23 hours, you're boom down there again. But when you move physically like this consciously for the whole day, at least for the whole day, you're in this calm space. Maybe for the whole week, something is turned inside out to level you up, and you are in a place of equilibrium. Now you will not be reactive. You will not react, and you will do no harm. Now, when you become that way, then others who you may interact with will feel that. And of course, we're creating our own story, right? So we are going to create the story from within us now. We are now fashioning the physical. Before we said, oh, I'm in the physical, and the physical is like this, and I don't feel trapped in the physical. Now we come into this space of expansion, like Sharon said, we expanded. And our tightness is hopefully left us or leaving us. And we're feeling a God selves, God power. So source is not sitting anywhere else. Source is sitting inside of us and say, let's play. And we hold a vision, as Master Marie has done, and you all masters do, but she's, like, wow. And she like envision whole soul mastery, whole soul school, and so many other. Who thinks this way? But we stepped away from the humdrum, the rational mind, it's not possible. And we say, why not? And I'm in that why not club too. So why not? Right? Get an enthusiasm, a God self up enthusiasm, the God within, get it up and fashion the physical from here, sitting where you are. Envision. Elon Musk has a rocket ship going up. You're not a government body. Envision. So why not? This is where we are journeying, and it is prime time that we focused on. I'm going to create my physical and say, okay, now here is my holodeck program. I'm going to go experience something in it. We are the programmers of that. We actually need to take responsibility for what happened as creation of humankind. We cannot say they did it to us too. I absolutely don't do that. I say I was somewhere creating that, those miscreations, that which is right now playing around me, which I may not like. I created it in one lifetime or another. I did it. They didn't do it to me. I did it. So when I take responsibility, I'm the programmer said, I created these virtual reality programs that now they're not serving anybody, creating suffering. Like so many virtual games are not harmonious. They are, based on warfare. They're not helping anybody feel good. So we say, okay, that's done. Let's start with brand new slate, and I'm going to create the physical, because God within, enthusiasm, is with acting as me, not through me, even as me. I'm that's me. We're going to do it together. And then we gather like this, like-minded, and we can even not connect with anyone as we hold the space, because we are connected as a substratum. As one does, it is shared automatically. As one does, it just flows out. So we don't have to even say, I'm going to do something I'm just going to hold this space in this way and have a jolly good time. Wonderful time. And then there you see an outpicturing. That's all we're doing. We are all cells in this eternal body. One says, I feel good about myself and I feel clean and I'm sparkling. Here we are then. Our work is done. And then we will join with other cells who say, oh, let's play together. This is so much fun. Okay, it is a play. It is a play. It is a play. For those who are feeling challenged right now, understand there's a light at the end of the tunnel. Keep on keeping on. Have faith. Have faith. Trust. This is so important. Trust. Have trust. And then you may have to go through the turmoil. Say, show me the way to feel better. Ask for assistance. Show me the way to feel better. I want to feel relieved. Use specific words. I want to feel relieved. Show me how to handle this situation. Show me how. Show me how. Show me how. And the next thing you know how to act, not react. Act in even the disturbing situation, even there. And then slowly you'll feel fewer and fewer disturbing situations in your life. Fewer, like Sharon said, it eases up eventually. Marie knows right where we are. And I'm sure, I know you're going through a challenge, Renee, but again, you're a master. You're a master. So we are among masters and we are ambassadors of light. That's my experience. It's a beautiful time. We are now in that last part of 2020. 2021 is going to be so different. We are designing the physical. And those steps, one set of footsteps, we're walking, and then others are being carried. Who walks? The God within. And we are part of the eternal being. So we see ourselves in that way, that we're ambassadors of light. We spread the light as in our being and doing. And that's all we need to do. There's really not much else. And everything, all the doing comes, whatever it shows up, it's just fine. It's in alignment with current state of consciousness.
Mm.
Too long, I know.
Oh, beautiful.
Perfect. Perfect. It is. And they're just, I think all of us and all the listeners who will listen to this, you know, as they find it, but it's drink in these energies, like really just allow yourself to bathe in these energies that have been shared here today. I want to say God walks within, right? God walks, God wins, and God breathes. Every single one of us is God breathing. That's why we're here. God breathed us into being. And we can remember that. And when we tap in and we fill with that breath, we fill with these understandings that someone that I listen to calls inner standings. These are inner standings. It's something we do from inside ourselves. And we are messengers of that light. We are messengers of the mastery. We're still in the journey of mastery. We will expansively be this. This is what Source Creator is when Source imagined us, right? And so always expanding, and our breath helps us in that expansion process. And so, you know, these are incredible times. I say all the time in my other videos, these are epic times. I like that word epic. It just somehow, it just embodies it all. These are epic times. And we are the brave, epic heroes and heroines who came for these times. And so, and it does require a certain level of heroic and divine breathing inside us to match the frequencies of what's moving in our world and our inner worlds right now. So I want to thank each and all of you for joining me today. This was really beautiful. I think we had a breath in this conversation, a big one. And I hope all of our listeners can take that in wherever you are. If you're in the fear programming, if you're vacillating between the two worlds, if you're feeling tension, if you're blissing out, you know, wherever you are, you know that you can tap into this oneness breath, this God breath inside you. And we are all dreaming this collective dream of reunion. That's the new cycle we're moving into. And so find your place in that breath and either be invited and summoned and carried a bit by the collective dream, or add your light into the breath if you have some to share. And I thank everyone for joining us. Find us at Whole Soul Mastery on YouTube, and you can find more inspiration. Still working on the website, need some tune-ups, but you know, that's something that you can also look there for some inspirations. And I'll include all of their contact information in the description section of the video if you want to be able to get in touch with these beautiful souls. Modeling and illustrating mastery and the path that we're all living to be these masters of light. So until next time, blessings, everyone. Namaste.
Thank you, Marie. Thank you, ladies.
Thank you.
Thank you. Much love to everybody.
Yeah. Eternal hugs.
Eternal hugs.